What is going on, Notre Dame fans? Mike Singer and Todd Burlage here this week for a Notre Dame football update. Um, Talk about some things from Marcus Freeman's press conference from over the weekend and then give our thoughts on it. Folks, please do hit the thumbs up on this video if you like what you see. And of course, head over to blueandgold.com for all of the latest Notre Dame football coverage. Todd, let's dive into it. Of course, Marcus Freeman was asked about the quarterback situation for Notre Dame heading into the Gator Bowl December 30th. Not a whole lot of new updates there. What did he have to say, Todd? You were in the building.
Yeah, I guess really no huge breaking news here, unfortunately, Mike. But yeah, I definitely suspect when you read between the lines that we're going to see both Tyler Buckner and Steve Angeli play in this game. Who starts, who knows? But it sounds like they're both getting equal one reps, so they're both working to play. I believe that will be the case. There's no reason not to play both, especially as you start to look ahead to next season. You're going to have a whole round robin of who's going to be the starter there. So you may as well get a look at both, Michael. And I think that's what Freeman's planning on doing. It really doesn't matter who starts, frankly. I just mainly worry about Buckner's health.
That's where I'm at. Obviously the doctors and the coaches, they know a lot more about more specifically Buckner's health and injury situation going into the Gator Bowl than we do. But I've said this so many times, you can just see the headlines if Buckner were to go down. So, but hey, it's kind of like a tryout of sorts for him for next season to at least. When people talk about Buckner and they say, "Oh, well, the offensive line was so bad those first two games." Well, it should be right. I mean, Todd, we're expecting the same O line to start, right? No opt outs, which kind of leads us into our next topic of opt outs before the bowl game. Notre Dame's had 3 players enter the transfer portal at the time we have recorded this, and Drew Pine, of course, quarterback. We'll touch on him next. Jaden Bellamy. And was it Osito Ekwonu? Is that right?
Yep, that's one.
So Freeman was asked about, hey, is there going to be any other players opt out before the bowl game?
Yeah, he was asked, and his answer took me back a little bit. He said, "That's it. We had a chat with these guys. They had a week to decide whether they're going to enter the portal, go pro, all that stuff." He said he wanted to have all that settled by the end of last week. So he's confident, at least at this point, heading into the bowl game, there won't be any surprises here, any late opt-outs or transfer portal entries. Of course, in this day and age, Mike, anything can happen when it comes to these types of things. But it does sound like the roster is pretty stable from this point. Now, what happens after the bowl game, all hell could break loose. I mean, we know that. But at least for now, it looks like Freeman knows what he has, and that's what he's taken down to Jacksonville.
Yeah, I agree. Anytime a coach says something other than coach speak, you kind of a little surprise you a little bit. So I was, like you said, in college football, you just never know what is going to happen. So for him to kind of come out and say nope, no opt outs was a little surprising to me. Moving along,
Very much so.
the last question of the press conference, Todd, was regarding Drew Pine potentially returning to Notre Dame. Thought that was an intriguing tidbit. That just I don't know. Well, quarterback enters the portal, you don't often see them come back. But he was asked, "Hey, what if Drew Pine were to come back?" This was a little bit more of a non-committal answer, though.
Yeah, for sure. Because I believe the question took Freeman back as well. He kind of gave it a chuckle to buy himself a little time. Then he went into case by case basis. I'll tell you what, if again, reading between the lines and sort of studying his vibe that he gave off when he asked if Pine would be back, I don't think he wants Pine back. And I think that was part of the conversations that they had leading up to this decision with Drew Pine. One thing that Marcus Freeman talked about with the portals and the opt-outs and whatnot is he had heart-to-heart conversations and transparent conversations with all of these guys. The coaches told him, hey, look, this is probably going to be your role. There are no guarantees. You're not guaranteed to start. You're not even guaranteed to play. So we're going to be honest with you. Make the decision that's best for you. And I think that's the direction they kind of steered Drew Pine, is to go ahead and take his talents elsewhere.
I completely agree there, and I think Notre Dame is wanting to kind of take a step forward here, and
No doubt, no doubt.
I think the Notre Dame quarterback room is better when you have a guy with that experience, but it's not best for Pine. You're not going to be 3 seasons being the backup. It's just
No.
3 straight seasons, right? Just being picked, losing a quarterback battle. I think it's kind of clear at this point that that he's not the guy for Notre Dame.
They
At that
need, they absolutely have to up. It's no secret. They absolutely have to upgrade this position. So, and if you're just going to chug along with Drew Pine again, I think it's a mistake. And Freeman even talked about how we're going to go out, we're going to look in the portal for quarterbacks. We do, and he even admits that he needs to upgrade that position if he wants to hang with the big boys of college football.
Yeah, speaking of upgrading, this is not something that we are going to discuss that we talked about. But hey, Notre Dame is hosting Virginia Tech transfer wide receiver Caleb Smith for a visit this weekend. It's interesting that Notre Dame also has a high school wide receiver committed named Caleb Smith. So hey, maybe bring in two Caleb Smiths in the same year. So yeah, 1 year of eligibility remaining for Mr. Smith, who caught 37 passes for 647 yards. 674 yards and 3 touchdowns in 11 games. No other Virginia Tech player had more than 256 receiving yards, which I don't know if that speaks more about how good Smith is or how bad that Virginia Tech receiver core was this past season. But yeah, Notre Dame receivers coach Chancey Stuckey visited him this morning, and Smith tweeted out, appreciate the visit, excited to get up there this weekend. Any thoughts about this, Todd, before we move on?
Yeah, I think when you look at those numbers, and I don't have it right in front of me, but those might be better numbers by Smith than anybody on the Notre Dame roster. That might even be better than Styles. I'm not 100% sure. It might be close to what Styles has. But obviously, when we're talking transfer portal, we're talking wide receivers and we're talking quarterbacks when it comes to Notre Dame. Those have to be the top 2 priorities.
Yeah, receiver. Notre Dame brought in a kicker this past weekend from USF for a visit. Notre Dame's offered Braden Fiskey, an interior defensive lineman from Western Michigan. So yeah, quarterback, receiver, and then defensive line and kicker. Some certainly, and that's not done. This is still very much to be determined. If there could be surprises, whether that be in the high school ranks for Notre Dame or the Notre Dame losing more players to the portal, very much to be determined. Speaking of the transfer portal, Freeman was asked about, hey, look, this is your regime now. This ain't Brian Kelly's Notre Dame. Are you looking to be more aggressive? And I'm paraphrasing the question. Are you looking to be more aggressive with getting underclassmen to Notre Dame, players who have not graduated from their university? So they're not grad transfers. And I'm interested to hear your take on this, Todd. Freeman basically said, look, it's a case-by-case basis, which people have then I've been, reading our blue and gold message board. People have been saying, it's the same old, just going to take grad transfers and not so much undergrads. I completely disagree. I think and actions speak louder than words. We're seeing Notre Dame go after undergrads. Like it's still mainly going to be grad transfers, but I think that there's a decent chance that Notre Dame gets an undergrad quarterback. How likely that is to be determined. But Hudson Card, they're recruiting, and he is not a graduate from Texas. So I think it's still I think he was being truthful. It's case by case, but they're more aggressive with non-graduates than and Brian Kelly. What do you think?
They better be. I mean, you're going to fall behind if you want to get lost in trying to academic this, and they have to make all these standards and test scores and whatnot. And we're going to be very meticulous about who we bring in. You're going to fall behind because not everybody's doing it. Look how quickly USC was able to flip that entire program this year just by bringing in whatever it was. I think it was about 20 transfers, Mike, if I'm not mistaken. So that Freeman's going to have these conversations with Jack Swarbrick and the rest of the administration, because you're going to need these guys. Notre Dame's going to lose players. You're going to have to be able to fill them, not always with grad students. You're going to have to get some talented undergrads. And so while he's trying to toe the company line, when he talks about academics and requirements to get into this university, and I'm not suggesting that he bend the rules at all, but they need to take a close look at if nothing else, Mike, speeding up the process. Notre Dame always drags its feet when it comes to evaluating these kids, going through their transcripts and this and that. They have to speed up these process for these young men.
Todd, appreciate you filling in for from Horka for this video, and love the backdrop. Everyone can see what time we're recording this video. You got the stockings, the lights that are going to give me a seizure. Todd, I appreciate you, man.
All right. Thanks, Michael.
All right, folks. Appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit that thumbs up before you get out of here. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, of course, for more content. Head to blueandgold.com. $10 to unlock premium access until the start of next football season. Again, appreciate you, folks, and we'll catch you next time.